What up? It's your girl Ashley. I be balling with the I be balling basketball show, and today I'm gonna do a movie review on the Amazon Prime movie Unstoppable. It's based on the true life story of Anthony Robles, and it's also based on a book that he wrote after winning, the NCAA wrestling championship. It's called Unstoppable: From Underdog to Undefeated, How I Became a Champion, right? And it stars a lot of great actors. Jherrel, Jerome, Jennifer Lopez, Don Cheadle, Michael Pena, Bobby Cannavale, and I thought it was an amazing movie, from, wrestling, from, oh, speaking of the wrestling, I found out that the stunt double was Anthony Robles. And I'm like, yo, that's dope that, he, you know, he did the stunt double. And so the movie is basically about how he overcame a lot of obstacles, right? He only has one leg, and he even said in the movie he doesn't want to, he doesn't want people to look at him and that's the first thing they see is that, he's missing a leg. And I think this is very inspiring for many people, with disabilities. But, and he also had to survive, kind of like an abusive home. And it's also about his mother, Judy, who I think overcame a lot as well, domestic violence. And it's about how he eventually became a champion, but you have to see everything that he went through to become a champion. And the most surprising thing that I saw from this movie is that, he's a top high school, wrestler, right? And he wants to go to a powerhouse, Iowa, right? A competitive, one of the best, you know, wrestling programs that a lot of the top wrestlers go to. He gets a college offer, right, to Drexel. It is you know, Rick, played by Bobby Cannavale. He's the stepfather. And he says you should take the, full scholarship. But he doesn't. He wants to stay home, close to his, brothers and sisters, right? And Judy. And I understand that, you know. So he enrolls in Arizona State with no no scholarship, and Don Cheadle plays Sean Charles, Coke, and even he's skeptical. He's skeptical that, Anthony can make it without a walk on. So I mean, just that undeniable faith in yourself to do that is freaking amazing. The movie starts when he's in high school though, and you kind of see like when he's wrestling, there's people in the crowd. There's like some girls in the crowd. And his mother is sitting by there, played by Jennifer Lopez, Judy. And they have like starky remarks like, is this, you know, charity thing? What's going on? They're making jokes, you know, um, because he's missing a leg, and they're like, how can he wrestle with just one leg, right? And eventually, Judy, she says something to him. But after like during the match, they start like, wow, he's really good. And now they ain't got nothing to say. They clapping and cheering for him, you know, and it's just something that they were just used to. They were used to all those remarks and bad comments. But check this out. So when I say he was in an abusive household growing up, his mom is the one that got the domestic violence and the abuse, while, Anthony and the children, I think they mostly got that, it's called like that mental abuse, right? And he was, you know, he was very, Bobby Cannavale plays Rick. And he's very angry all the time. He's threatening, he's furious. Children are, you know, scared of him. They're scared to say anything or do anything that could make him mad. And he's always he's very disrespectful. And he's a um officer, a law enforcement officer. And he always brags about his job, like, yeah, they scared of me, yeah, I enforce the law, I'm tough with prisoners. And I feel like Anthony was, the oldest, and he was always, trying to, make sure his mother and his siblings were good. So I think him staying home was, a good decision. But also, something that I didn't like in the movie, Rick, he was always saying, "You're not my real son," even though he has the last name, "You're not my real son," blah, blah, blah. Right? So, and saying like he doesn't have a father and stuff like that. And I thought that was disrespect. So that's just some of the, obstacles, right, that, he endured, right? But what I really like about this movie is obviously I feel like the wrestling moves were amazing. A lot of the sports scenes, like they had like, how if you ever seen sports movies, for some reason they always do this. It's like a sports montage where, there's newspaper clips and all that. And, it's sort of like it's like a highlight reel, you see highlight reels on different social media platforms. It's sort of like that in the movie. In a lot of sports movie, that's how it is. And so, and at the end, I really liked it because it showed the real Anthony and, his family and wrestling and, coaches, updates of the real people. But yeah, this is an amazing movie. It's about triumph. It's about being an underdog. It's about, you know, going the extra mile, believing in yourself, enduring the hardships. Because to go to, because how many people, right? Even if you don't have a disability, how many people would actually, you know, deny a full scholarship? It's paid for and everything to go to Arizona State and any college. And I said, wow, that's big time. That's big time. And how you if you make the team, how you know you even gonna play, right? But he understood the assignment. He when the other team's running, he's using his crutches, doing his own version of uh running. And I think that's what the movie is always about. It's about adapting, right? And I felt like even Don Cheadle was surprised. Like he was hard on him. He was I feel like the coach, he was very hard on him. Very, very hard on him. But he also had like a a gentle side where he was, compassionate. So he was authoritative, very crisp, you know, tough love, but he also showed you, like compassion and, he he admits like, "Yo, I underestimated you. I made a mistake." And that's where Don Cheadle is a great actor. So he was masterful in this. And Jerome, I think Jherrel Jerome's acting. I've seen him in different TV films, and he's next up. I feel like he's the next Michael B. Jordan of Hollywood. Like Michael B. Jordan, he was always acting, right? But it wasn't until, Fruitvale Station and, Wakanda and Creed where he got this big name. And I think that's what Jerome's gonna do. Like, it's gonna be some role that just shocks the heck out of Hollywood or something. I don't know what that role will be, but sometimes that's how it is with acting. Like, you acted for decades and then you get your just due. But anyway, the character I didn't like most was Rick. He was like barking, and also, there was like a scene where it did get physical between Anthony um and Rick. Trying to protect his. Anthony is trying to protect his family. Um, so I didn't like Rick, but everybody else I really did like. I really did like everyone. Now, oh, another person that I forgot to mention that did a great acting job was Michael Pena. And you might have seen I feel like he's in everything. I feel like his break was in Friday, but he played Bobby Williams, the high school coach, and I really liked it. Training, the headlines. I really liked his acting. So they had an all-star cast, in my opinion. So the acting was good, the visuals were good, the the, the wrestling moves, and you was cheering for him, like, yeah, get him, yeah. And what I also didn't like is, so this is what happened. So there were people saying his competitors, right? The ox, the competition, that's what I call it. They were saying that, because once he started winning, he actually had an undefeated record his junior and senior years, 96-0, I believe, undefeated. And what I didn't like was, people were saying, oh, he has an advantage because doesn't have, he doesn't have two legs. And that, I think that kept him in a certain weight class. But I didn't like it because it's like, first off, it's like he's born with one leg, right? And I'm like, that's a disadvantage, right? But now that he's winning, oh, you weren't saying that before, but now that he's winning, now you're arguing that, oh, we can't grab, an extra leg because, right? They can't grab an extra leg, and he's he's less weight, than the two-legged competitors. And I'm like, come on, guys. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And I just felt like, come on now, like you weren't saying that till he was winning. You probably underestimated him, overlooked him, underrated him. And now it's an advantage, you think, right? Because he's winning. If he was losing, nobody would say a word. So I didn't like that. I did like, I felt like this was a great sports biopic. Like, and it doesn't matter, if you don't like wrestling. I feel like I like all sports biopics, Ali, um, movies like Rudy, LeBron James has his own, and even Giannis have their own movies now, and I, I want to see more. I want to see more. There's a lot of great ones. Miracle about hockey. So there's so many hoop dreams. He got game. There's so many. Even karate, I feel like, is a sports movie. Um, and so I just love sports movies because, a lot of people think, oh, it's just about sports. And you may not like sports, but really there's a message in it. There was a good scene, his teammates supporting him. Think, you might laugh, you might cry, you might, you definitely gonna get, motivated for sure. And another cool thing is, he had a job washing airplanes. So not only was he wrestling and being a student, he had a job too. So he's all about that hustle mentality. Every day I'm hustling, hustling. So he was hustling on and off the mat, man, you know, throughout life. He didn't make no excuses. He didn't make no excuses. And give credit to his mindset and his mentality, but also, credit to his mother. Credit to his mother for, believing in him. And this is just about belief, taking risk, you know, jumping over hurdles, not quitting. And, he betted on himself, because, I'm going to be honest, I would have just took the full ride. Like, but it takes a lot of, a lot of guts to do that and belief in yourself and your worth ethic. But I think, sometimes the movie wasn't as smooth as it could be. Like some of the structure of it, I think wasn't, you know, smooth. But overall, I definitely give this movie an A. The acting, the visuals, the wrestling, and also Jerome, his facial expressions, even without saying a word. I think that's part of acting too. It's not just about, the dialogue you say, it's about your expressions when you're not saying anything. And I thought that was, adamant in watching the movie. And, oh, I, I did some, research, right? I did some research because I was like, okay, where is he now? You want to see what they do. You want to know the story, but you want to know, let me do my research after I watch the movie. So, oh, he's still the only one to win the national championship with one leg. And I think this is going to inspire other players with disabilities to try out wrestling and to try out other sports. Um, but something that, I researched, credit to the mom leaving Rick, credit her, but also found out she got her degree at Arizona State. And we know Anthony Robles, he went to Arizona State and wind up, beating Iowa, the big powerhouse that didn't even give him a full ride, right? And that's incredible in itself. I mean, winning a championship, you know, that's successful in itself. But then you beat a team that you really wanted to go to. They didn't really, really want you. And but yeah, the mom graduated in 2014, and then she got another degree, her doctorate in 2022, and she even works at the high school. She's the assistant dean of students. So credit to her. Did I also forgot if I mentioned Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's their production company did this movie. Shout out to them. But something that I also found out about, Anthony, he ended up coaching at the high school that he went to, right? And I think that's incredibly dope because, he hasn't forgotten where he's come from. He hasn't forgotten, you know, that's inspirational in itself. You're inspiring the kids at your, high school that you used to go. So they're like, yo, if he could do it, I could do it. He sat in the same exact seats, right? So I thought that was dope. He um coached at Mesa High. And also he's a motivational speaker. Obviously he's an author. He's won two ESPYs, you know. I think that's dope. Um one of the ESPYs was like best athlete with a disability. And I think another one was, about overcoming. But another thing that he is this is interesting. He's the only athlete to get signed to Nike after the sport, after they played the sport. So after he won in 2011, he went on to do other things. And usually, brands and sponsors get you during your actual your prime, your playing years, right? Nike signed him after his career, and he's the only athlete to do that. And they said he's a Nike athlete for life. Like he's gonna. it- Not a lot of athletes get long term, long time, lifetime deals. Like that's big. He also became in 2012 wrestling um analyst commentator for ESPN. Then something that I found out, I was like, what? Obama appointed him to the President's Council of Fitness, Sports, and Nutrition in 2013. I was like, what? That's dope. And here's something else. During halftime at a football game, he set a Guinness World Record, right? For most pull ups in a minute. I'm like, yo, you know how much bragging I would do if I had a Guinness World Record? I'll be like, hey, nah, I set a record and watch me now. Um, but yeah, a quote that he said after winning the ESPYS Awards is this: I don't care what is probable. Through blood, sweat, and tears, I am unstoppable. And I'm like, that is a quote that you could say to yourself in the mirror every morning. That's a good quote to say to yourself. Say it in your mind, like, because it starts in the mind. And I'm like, also, he had a lot of strength and endurance in the sport. He wasn't like, he wasn't taking no, breaks. All gas, no brakes. But yeah, I just feel like this is incredible to watch. Good for some determination. You need some motivation. But I thought overall the movie was great. Jerome, be on the lookout for him because I feel like you know, I think his best. Forgot when it came out, but When They See Us on Netflix, check that out. That's amazing because he played a character as a child and as a grown up, and his facial expressions and his eyes and face. I think he did a great job and great. great acting. But yeah, I think that was a great sports biopic. Shout out to everybody involved. I just think, that because life has its challenges. And if you can see someone that, has overcome, a lot of challenges and you can put themselves in your shoes or say, hey, why am I complaining? Why can't I do this? Um, and so yeah, that's what life is, because life ain't rainbows and sunshine all the time. It's about, if there's a curveball, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to change and adapt? How are you going to figure things out? It's like a maze. How are you going to figure out to survive and get out? But yeah, I thought there's not, there's not there's not anything bad about the movie. I definitely give it an A. Like I said, uh, the timeline, the flow of it is a little rocky. Um, like the pieces don't fit smoothly all the time, but that's the only thing that I would say is, not very good. But overall, I'd still give it an A. And I also think like, hey, you guys, even if you like, watch the movie, you recommend the movie to a friend. Don't just watch it for yourself, recommend it for your friend because this is inspirational to anybody. You don't even have to play a sport, like the movie, or even like sports. This is about life as well, because he exceeded expectations. People wasn't expecting him to be as good as he did, and he said, "Watch me." He don't care what you think is possible. He's gonna do the impossible, impossible. You know. He's unstoppable, like Kim Possible, doing the impossible. Hey, but nah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Go watch this movie on Amazon Prime because it's freaking uh, it's freaking amazing, guys. It's freaking amazing. Great sports history for you. And even after you watch the movie, go watch some YouTube videos about them. Those are good interviews because his cousin got him into the sport and he lost his first wrestling match as a kid because he was like, nah, I don't want to do it, but his cousin convinced him to give it a try, and even though he lost, he fell in love with it. He was happy, and that, what more can you ask for, right? So thank you guys. Also, I just want to say thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Make sure everybody stay balling. And remember, nothing is impossible. You are unstoppable. Let me do that quote again. I don't care what is probable. Through blood, sweat, tears, I am unstoppable. That is dope. That is incredibly dope. And peace, y'all.